Today we are going to continue this reflection of my life about contentment. When I was being assigned this topic, I was like, "Oh, Sister Paru, I think I have gotten the wrong topic." And Sister asked me why. I said, "Oh, I'm the most discontented person to talk about contentment." And Sister said, "No mind. She's always positive. She said, "Sister, you can share how have you suffered because of discontentment?" I said, yeah, perhaps we can learn from that experience as well. So today I will draw some teachings, advice from the Buddha, from the Sutta, some Dhammapada stories, and also some sharing and stories, from some teachers to be shared with all of you here. When we talk about contentment, I think all of us have seen this word santuti. Santuti, with the meaning of having that sense of satisfaction, having that sense of being contented, and with that accompanied a sense of feeling of joy. So a contentment with no joy is not the real santuti. Sometimes we say, "Oh, I'm contented lah," but actually in the heart, no joy one. So it's like being forced to be happy with your condition. That is not the real santuti. And in a simple word, the Buddha said that we are feeling happy with what we are and what we have. In the worldly sense, contentment is always measured against the happiness that we achieve after our desires are fulfilled. Very normal, right? So when you plan for certain things that you want to achieve, then you got it, and then you feel contented. That is a very general definition of contentment. How normal people look at contentment. But the Buddha's advice to us is to look at contentment in the way that happy with what we already have and happy with what who we are as well. I take an example of traveling a journey. So if one want to travel, for example, from here, KL to Thailand, for example. Now, the normal sense of contentment is that when we embark on this journey and when we reach Thailand, we are very happy. Let's say we drive. We drive and then we reach there. Yes, we are very happy, right? What are we happy for? We are contented. What are we contented with? Oh, I have reached my destination. Now, have we ever reflect back deeper? Do we feel contented about the whole journey? Do we feel contented about how that experience brought us to be? And that is a successful experience where we actually achieve our destination. What if we don't achieve? If we plan to travel in a day, plan to reach Thailand in a day, and somehow something happened and we couldn't reach there within a day, how would we feel? If we let's say stuck at Penang. Maybe Penang is a more happening place. Maybe you're happy, right? Let's say you're stuck in Perlis. Okay, nothing much in Perlis. There's no jalan-jalan cari makan experience there. So you stuck there and you can't go to the final destination that you wish to. And then how would that experience be? Would we still be contented for not fulfilling our destination, fulfilling the desire to reach our destination? No, right? Usually no. But can we reflect a little bit and take a step back and think about how that journey from KL to Perlis instead have been safe, have been in good company, have been also considered successful, despite it is not 100%. It is still partially successful, right? And we know, tomorrow we will have to continue the journey. That is being happy with where we are and who we are. Being happy with what we have already achieved. A lot of time we forgot to take a step back and see how full have a cup been, and we only look at the empty cups. So that reminds us to be contented. And happy with what we are is also talking about accepting who we are as a person, accepting our inner mind that we have so-called inherited or carried with us based on the conditions that we have set, based on the previous karmic condition that we have carried with us. Yeah, and being happy with what we do as well, regardless of what we do, what profession do we do, regardless of what role do we play in the society. It may seem in the eyes of the worldly world to be low. Yeah, it may perceive to be low. For example, a janitor may perceive to be having a low profession in the society, but that does not determine the value of that particular profession. Yeah, so a person need not be affected by those perceived roles and responsibility, big or small, but could actually be contented with the process or with the journey of carrying out their duties and role. And indeed, happiness and contentment does not differentiate by those rank, by roles and responsibilities, and by the way, the world perceive. Yeah, it is much more the inner strength. Is much more the inner thought about how we perceive and how we see the achievement of this perhaps a role, a responsibility, or the inner values that we demonstrate. Yeah. Now, let's look at the characteristic of this contentment. I think all of us have experienced contentment before, right? In somehow or other, in certain aspect. Yeah. Sometimes a lot, sometimes a little bit. Now, we also experience discontentment, and a few characteristics of discontentment allow us to see how we did not cultivate that sense of contentment, and allow us to compare the state of mind. The first one, Buddha said, is the sense of wanting more and more. Yeah? Once we have achieved a set target or a desired goal, we have that additional desire to want more and more. Yeah. So, giving the example of a student, yeah, a lot of students I've seen that they have set target to achieve certain grades in their studies. Sometimes they know, okay, this one I'm not really good at it. I set it A will do. Some subjects they are very good at it, so they say, okay, this is A+. There was one time SPM result was announced, and this girl, one of my students, called me and said that, hey, I'm very sad. I said, okay, how's your result? I think you are really a good student, and based on the trend, you have been getting good results. So I think you will also score very well in this SPM. And she said, yeah, everybody think that I score well, but I don't think that I score very well. And I said, why? Oh, because those that I aim for A+, I got only A. Then I said, okay, still A, right? Still not bad, right? Then I asked, how many A's do you have in total? 11. Then I said, why are you so sad? I aim for 12. Then my Mandarin couldn't get A's. And I was like, oh, okay. Yes, you have not been able to achieve maximum level of A's, and certain subject that you reach your A+, you did not get. But that, in our very normal and rational mind, should not deter you from being happy, right? If you compare with other people, you have already gotten such a good result, and you are able to enter the university that you wish to. Why are you so unhappy? And true enough, some of her friends told me that she cried when she got the result. So people thought that she cried because she was so happy, 12 A's. But in fact, she said, no, I cried because I couldn't get the result that I wanted to. So if we are so, if as a student, the mentality is so stretched towards wanting to achieve exactly what they have aimed for, brothers and sisters have experienced adult, what do you think the future of this student? Do you think that everything that we aim for will be achieved very easily in life? Not really, right? And it is about how they or she handle that so-called failure in her mind and perceive that failure in her mind. And the way I told her is, just be contented, be happy, and of course, channel that joy, channel that sadness to joy, because you could actually see the water in the cup rather than see the empty part of it or the lack of it, and turn that joy to gratitude as well. Because when you feel grateful towards the people that you have helped you along the way, that could also bring that sense of contentment. Because why? You know that your life is full with people who is supporting you and is filled with many good things around you as well. Yeah. And the second characteristic of this contentment is the sense of compare and compete, which is the covetousness. Covetousness is that sense of feeling of wanting to have something, especially things that does not belong to us or belongs to other people. And if not watch mindfully, that sense of covetousness will lead to jealousy. So the Buddha actually commented that this feeling of wanting more, especially on what other people have, is very dangerous. Even as a monk, the training rules of the monk, one of it is do not look at others' bowl. Yeah, when you take your food or when you receive your alms food, do not look at others' bowl. Why? Because other people may get bigger piece of chicken than yours, or more rice than yours, or people get ice cream, you don't get ice cream, right? And by this, looking at other people, and compare, then there will be that sense of inferior or superior, and that sense of jealousy will arise if we are not careful. And in the world, I think we live in a community as well. Sometimes, inevitably, we also compare, right? We compare with what our neighbors have. We compare with, I don't know, even among siblings. I think siblings, especially children, they will compare, I don't know. Sometimes I saw some Damascus students when they took their food, right? And they compare the size of the cake. But I know it's jokingly, but that is very normal. And adult, we compare other things. We maybe compare car, we compare house, we compare, I don't know, a lot of things. So that is something that it shows if we compare and our desire are spark, to get more, especially of what other people have, without a real careful thinking, then that is an indication of discontentment, and that could actually bring us to more desire. And another aspect of this contentment is about liking to show off. Liking to show off. Why? Because of the person feel discontent, then there is something that he wants to show off to feel that sense of contentment, to use that praise and compliments to feel that sense of lack in the heart. Yeah, one of the story during the China time is that a Chinese emperor who has won many battles and who have conquered many rivers and ports, and he has been showing photos of his ports with ships and yachts at the port, fetching all the goods, showing the progressive country that he had. And when he showed that to his master, the master said that, Yeah, these are all beautiful sceneries, but I could only see 2 ships. Then the emperor was like, I show you the whole wall of my territory and empire, and you say that you only see 2 ships. There are so many ships there, representing different traits, like silk, like coil, like so many things. But you only said you saw 2 ships. So he was surprised. He asked, why did you say so? There are so many ships. What ships do you see? Then the master said, I only saw 2. One is the ship of greed, and another is the ship of power, the fame. These are the 2 that you have been wanting and you have been fulfilling towards yourself. And when you have progressive country, I have not seen you done much to the community. That progress is only for you to fulfill your desire of wanting more and wanting to be powerful, wanting to be known by the whole world. But that desire, that conquer did not actually help the community. That is not based on the wholesome intention. So with that advice, then the king actually turned to be more humanistic, turned to use his wealth to help the country, help the community to progress. So we have to also be careful when we are in the good condition. Then we can reflect back. Yes, these are things that we have gotten, but what was the original intention behind our mind in getting those? If it is based on good intention, wholesome intention, is for the good of people, ourselves and other people, then that sense of contentment is a real sense of contentment. Right? So that these 3 are the characteristic of this contentment that we can review in our life. Yeah. So whenever we felt not really happy, whenever we felt the sense of competing, comparing, that desire to want more and more, and also feeling like wanting to show off, then we can examine ourselves. Yeah, what is my state of mind here? Now, why do we cultivate this sense of contentment? What do you think, Xander? Why do we want to cultivate contentment? Don't know, that's why you're here, right? I get the mother's help.
So that we don't have to have so much desires.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that we know how to stop that wanting more. Yeah, correct. The Buddha said that because our mind, the root cause of this contentment is the greed. It is the greed that leads us wanting more and more. And because of this craving that we have, that's why, based on the 4 Noble Truths, the second Noble Truth, it causes us suffering. Yeah, it comes in many ways, so we have to really check how this craving crop into our mind. And when craving comes, right, sometimes it comes very fast without us realizing. It's like a torch that come and shine on us, and if we are not careful, we will get burned. Yeah, so this is the practice of contentment, is to help us to check and see, so that we take a step back and see how this craving has come into our mind, and before it grabs us, then we can be aware and cut off that sense of craving. In the Dhammapada, verse 251, the Buddha said, there's no fire like passion, no grip like ill will, and there's no net like ignorance, and there's no river like craving. The passion, our lust, our passion, our wanting for sensual desire is like fire that can burn us. And why the Buddha say there's no river like craving is because although a river can be full at times, craving can never be full. Agree? River can be full, right? Full and overflow, right? But can our craving be full? No. This satiation, this sense of satiation cannot be filled or cannot be full on. It comes again and again. It's a bottomless pit, 无底洞. And it is, the Buddha also compared, the greedy person like the example of a big fire and ocean. Yeah? When you are greedy, you are burned by everything that you are desired for. Have you seen that people do all sorts of things to get what they want? Yeah, all sorts of things. Yeah, of course, including the unwholesome things. Yeah, and because it never stops burning. When you think about it, you want it. When you want certain things, then you think about it, and then that energy is sparked in you to go and get it. Yeah, and if we don't know how to stop, then we will be urged by that energy to go and do, and it burns the mind. It burns the mind. And like ocean, why? Because as I said just now, it is so vast and it has no end to it. So it can be greed towards one thing, then after you get the first thing, then the second, after that the third and the fourth. There's always upgrade version of iPhone. There's always better version of handbags and shoes. Yeah. So all these, if we do not check, it will just burn us. Not only burn our wallet, purse, yeah, it will burn us, burn our energy, burn our mind. Yeah. This is what Venerable Thich Nhat Hanh talked about. Buddhism actually is a very clever way to enjoy our life. Yeah, and living in this consumerism world, yeah, many of us are associating our happiness with material consumptions, yeah, where Venerable said that confusing the quality of one's lives with a quantitative standard of living is actually a self-defeating way, because it does not lead to happiness. So our sense of happiness, our sense of contentment does not depend on the object of contentment, yeah, but it is the spirit itself that helps us to feel the sense of happiness. And in cultivating contentment, there are three ways. Based on the commentary, there are three ways that one can practice. How? This is an example used based on the 4 requisites of the monk. I can take the example of the robe. Yeah. Now, contentment according to one's gain. Now, when a monk receives a robe, this is the advice of the Buddha. Yeah, that it can be either a good quality robe or a not so good quality robe, right? Because you are depending on the offering, you cannot choose. Now, he has to keep with it and not desire for another one. Cannot be like, oh, you get ready, oh, this one, like that, I don't want. Give to other monks. That is the practice of contentment. And he also does not accept another one even though he was being offered. Yeah, because that one is good enough. Every monk will have 3 sets of robes, right? So when they already have that 3 sets, even though being offered, he would not accept. Okay, but in a contemporary society, we offer robes to the monk, right? Robes offering, we offer hundreds of robes. And then don't ask me why the monks are so greedy. It's not greedy, they are accepting on behalf of the Mahasangha. Here we're talking about the personal usage of the robe. Yeah? When they already have the robe still intact, they, as a contented monk, they will not choose and ask for another one, and they will not even take if being offered, because they already have enough. That is the sense of, I have enough. Yeah? And that is contentment according to one's gain. Now, the second one, contentment according to one's ability. How does it work? How do we cultivate this? The example given is that for the monk receive a a good or heavy rope, yeah, a big rope, yeah, that is made of good quality and thick cloth. By wearing it, the monk may face some difficulties or discomfort because it is a heavy rope. Now, knowing that his ability, in a sense that maybe he's smaller in size, or maybe, yeah, then he exchanges with another monk for a lighter rope. Yeah, and this is contentment with one's ability, meaning to say you know how much you need. What is the right thing that fit to you, that make you sustain your life? Yeah, I think here very common is that you can see when dana time, yeah, the monk, when they receive food, for example, they don't pinpoint and say, seldom have monk pinpoint you know. I think they don't really pinpoint and say that, you know, okay, this is what I want, this is what I want. And at the same time, they know their portion. When they have enough, they will just say, this is enough. And if they know that certain things they can't take, you know, they will not take, or they will just ask us to remove. And here, of course, food we don't exchange, but when it comes to other things, for example, medicine, you know, sometimes I see monks that say, oh, this is good for you, this is, I do not need this, then they offer to another monk. So because they actually don't need it, or not suitable for them, right? Now, the third one is according to suitability. What does this suitability mean? Here, the example given is that when a monk receives a very good quality and expensive rope, yeah, and he thinks that this rope is more suitable for a more experienced or senior monk, and he, being contented with what he has received, you know, practice the sense of generosity, a generous mind, to offer this to whoever, or teacher, experienced teacher, whom he thinks is more suitable to receive the gift. Yeah. So then he presents it to others out of generosity and out of renunciation. So this is practicing of contentment according to suitability. How do you think we can relate this to our own life? How do we think that we can relate this to our own practice of contentment and perhaps generosity? Anyone? You will not get rope offering, but you may get other things. Yeah, so and then.
When we get something, we don't compare with the other person, like what you shared just now. The causes of discontentment, if we can reverse the causes of discontentment, we can become contented.
Yeah, thank you. Any more? So living?
According to one gains, like kids, sometimes they receive angpao already. They see other ones get more, they shouldn't compare and say, why my brother get two, I only get one. So whatever you get, you have to be contented.
Yeah, this is kids, yeah? Kids also perhaps like to compare. Maybe he will tell you that, why not you give us the same amount of whatever gifts that you prepared. Any more? No? Maybe, yeah, for monks, you know, most of the time we heard about example of ropes. I have also been thinking and reflecting about why the Buddha always use the example of ropes. And the four requisite rope is the first one. Then I started to realize, yeah, that ropes is the only possession, I can say, one of the possession of the monk that they keep with them like 24 hours. It's like the 3 sets of rope. They have it and they wear it like 24 hours. Whereas food is not. You only get one meal a day. Yeah. So the attachment of the rope, right, is actually very strong one. Because you wear it every day, not like us, we can change. we lay people would not be very attached to our clothes. Yeah, because why? We can change. We have the choice to buy. Yeah, but they can't. They have no choice to buy because they just accept the offering, and they have to wear with them until it is torn. It is not wearable. So it's very, very precious. And the sense, that will lead to the attachment of the ropes. Have you heard about the rope, the monk who is very attached to the rope until he died? He also still attached and being born as a worm in the clothes, in the ropes, yeah, being too attached. So that's why that practice of contentment towards the possession, especially the rope, is very, very emphasized for the training of monks. Yeah. Now, I think most of us experience that sense of contentment, and we know that sense of joy, is also leading to sense of well-being, the feel of well-being in life. When we are contented in certain area, generally we also think that we have well-being in certain areas. Yeah, for example, if you are contented with my health, then generally I feel the sense of well-being in the area of health. So today I just basically group this practice of contentment in the group of 6 well-being, so that we can see how we can further cultivate in these areas. Yeah. The first one, physical well-being and good health. Right. Now, when we talk about physical well-being and good health, we always talk about having enough nutrient, having enough exercise, taking enough rest, yeah, to rejuvenate ourselves, and generally we are free from sickness. A lot of time, maybe the layman, yeah, as I mentioned just now, our sensual pleasure, yeah, is not on the clothes, not so much on the clothes, but more on the food, yeah, right? More on the food, right? Because we eat mainly 3 meals, or like some people 6 meals a day, and that make us easily associate with the sensual desire towards food. And I just want to share two stories. Maybe this is very extreme, but this is real story. Yeah? One happened in Myanmar, where a couple were actually having a farm, and then they do their farming work, but the husband always have strong craving towards chili. And to plant a tree, if you eat chili, right, you can eat a few in a day, right? But to plant chili, it takes time, right? and every day, the husband would eat a lot of chili, and one day, suddenly they ran out of chili. It happened that all the plants botak already, and this husband was looking for chili and asked the wife to go and take from the farm. And the wife came back with empty-handed, and the sense of craving is so strong that he was so angry, and he just being insane, out of the mind, and took the knife that he was planning to cut chili and chop the head of and just hurt the wife. When I heard about this story, I was a bit shocked. How can a person, because of a chili, love hurt the beloved wife? But that is also the example that shows us what the Buddha said. When the sensual desire is so strong, it's just like fire that burns someone, and you are irrational. You are not watchful towards your thought. You will say whatever, and you will do whatever to perhaps release that tense and that stress. Yeah. So that is one of the story. And another story is about this is a real story that happened during Buddha's time, when Buddha was in Jetavana monastery. And there was a butcher, and he has been selling meat for many, many, many years. And every day he has the habit of eating meat. He will not eat his meal if it is without meat. That day, one day, he has already reserved a pile of meat to be brought back home, after close the shop, brought back home to cook. And it happened on that day, someone came after he closed the shop, and while his wife was there, the person asked to buy the meat, and his wife was like, has no choice, like being forced to sell. And then when he realized that there is no meat, he was reluctant to eat the meal. So the wife said, no meat, cannot cook meat today, and just cook vegetarian curry. Say, no, I don't want to eat falanza. It's like, oh, I don't want to eat, just like kids, right? But it's actually an old butcher. And because of this sense of craving is so strong, he said, okay, I will go to the backyard and go to the, we have a kettle, and he will just cut the kettle tongue and then use it to cook curry. So that happened. So because cut the kettle tongue, and then the cow died. Yeah, and after that, when he was trying to enjoy his meal, yeah, he suddenly, when he ate the cow's tongue, he suddenly bite on his own tongue as well. Yeah, and according to the story, right, he also cut off his own tongue, and that tongue fell off his plate. I don't know how, but a bit exaggerate, right? Yeah, and he was in great pain and agony, and then he was trying to go to the hospital, but while stumble around, he fell and knocked on a rock, and because of that knock, bleed and died on the spot. And that, of course, people relate that to the karma of harming the animals because of your strong craving of wanting to eat food. So that is very extreme. Yeah, very extreme. You harm creature with your own hand to satisfy your own craving, and that's why the practice of contentment towards having the food that being served to us or the food that is being prepared is very important. It's not to eat to live, but we are not live to eat, right? But eat to live, eat to survive. And for a practitioner, we eat so that we can maintain a noble way of life. Right? So this is about eating. Another part of physical well-being is also is about appearance and outlook. Yeah. Nowadays, the dissatisfied or discontentment about look has been going to the very young age. Young kids will come and say that I don't like my face, I don't like the way my height. I'm so short. Some people even tall also will say I don't like my height because I'm so tall. To be frank, last time I used to have this sickness. I don't like my height because I was too tall. Everywhere I go, I have to stand at the back. In the class, I have to sit at the back. When take photo, also no need to find I don't need to find myself. My parents don't need to find me. It's always at the back. Yeah. So I don't like that sense of being so tall, and I just don't like my height. But I have no choice. I know I cannot chop my leg. I cannot get myself shorter. Whereas people who are short, I always, when they say that, how good if I'm as tall as you, I tell them, don't worry, because you have opportunity to grow. I have no opportunity to shorten. Yeah. Then only after when I started to involve in games, standard 5 onwards, I started to involve in more sports. Then only I realized that, being tall also have your own advantage. I can swim. People say, you swim, then you reach the other end faster. Yeah, and then I can play certain games because of the height. Yeah, then only I started to know, actually each and every individual is different. We are born, because of DNA, because of nutrient, because of many reasons, we are born as such, so we accept. As long as we are healthy, then that is good physical well-being. So with the consumerism, with the strong usage of beauty products nowadays, yeah, I think it is really not only affecting ladies but also men, that people are going into this sense of not so satisfied with their look, their natural look. You know, normal treatment or normal facial is okay, but some even go to the extent of changing, having plastic surgery. You can see more and more what do we call it? Aesthetic company, is it? Clinic that being set up, even in Malaysia. Not sure whether it's in Singapore, they have the same, yeah, because people are not happy, and that is not only in Korea now. Yeah, people just do plastic surgery and change themselves. We can't really recognize, and this is really because people do not understand that the body is part of them. They cannot accept who they are. They are not contented with that. Yeah. Now, second well-being, which is the emotional well-being, is also closely related. Sometimes it's so closely related to physical well-being. Yeah, and I would like to share with you this video here that shows about our own inherent discontentment about our physical well-being, and is very much associated with our emotional well-being as well. Let's see. Yeah, brothers and sisters, a lot of time we did not see the beautiful part of ourselves, right? We always see the not so beautiful part of ourselves and feeling discontented with it. But in the eyes of many people say beauty is in the eyes of beholders. Why not the beholders are us, right? In the eyes of many people, you know, they see us maybe more comprehensively. They see the better side of ourselves. Yeah. Anyone want to share anything after you watch the video? How do you relate to that? How do you reflect that towards yourself? Do you see the, yeah, sister?
So I think sometimes we are just too critical of ourselves. We are not satisfied, we are critical, always think that we are not good enough. So in actual fact, maybe for other people who look at us in a more objective view, now they can see the good point.
Yeah, true. Too critical of ourselves, right? Because we are being taught to see what is imperfect and make things perfect. Right? We are taught, a lot of time we are taught to being so, to make things perfect, make it good, and or make it the best, try our best. You know, good is not enough. Correct? Good is not enough, and try to do your best. But yes, we know good is not enough, but it is enough for there and then. Have you heard about the story of the bricks? Achambra's story about the bricks? Yeah. You know, when everything is nicely laid and one brick is not done well, or it's not fitted well, when people come and visit the monastery, everybody say, oh, this is a nice monastery, it's well done. And Achambrang always hold that part of shame and discontentment and say, no, this is not well done. Why? Because one brick is not really fitted well. But the rest of people see it, wow, it's nicely done. But he hang on and cannot let go of that particular one brick. Yeah. And a lot of time in our life also, there are so many things that we are doing, and it can't be done completely, or it can't permanently be in the best state of the things. Right? And what I've learned from many Thai temples, you know, is that the Thai temples, they always build a shed or pavilion, right, with raw cement. And when I was young, I thought raw cement means work not done. Because for me, it's very raw. Every building that I see is all painted nicely. So a lot of time in the temple, the Sima Hall, the main shrine are all painted very nicely and then put with gold leaves and gold decoration everywhere. But the pavilions or the shade where we go for meditation under at the natural side are always not painted. It's just left like that. And I used to ask, how is this going to be done? When is this going to be done? And the monk always tell me that it's done. It's done. And I go to some temples, it's the same. Even I went to Ajahn Buddha Dasa's place in Thailand, it's the same. It's just raw and bare cement. And I also asked them, is this just done? They said, no, we have been using it for many years. So it is our impression that it is not done. But it is actually done and good enough to be used by whoever and whenever. Yeah. So I think a lot of time we also have to embrace, we can embrace this kind of spirit. Yeah. It is done, it is good for now. Yes, we know it still have room for improvement, but that is something for us to work on. Otherwise, we will forever be held back by that sense of not achieving enough. And that is actually a stress. That causes many people stress mentally and burn out as well. Because you can never run the whole journey at that speed and hope to end it. Because life journey only ends when our journey ends. Right? And for Buddhists, it's even worse. It's throughout the samsara. Right? So one good point to see is we have more opportunity to improve. But at the same time, we need to know within this particular condition, we have already have enough. That is the sense of contentment. And we always see nowadays, especially a lot of depressed cases, a lot of burnout cases, a lot of panic attack kind of cases. Why? Because people are just not contented, and they felt that there is always something to do, something to hang on, something to chase. So it's not only the rat race in career, but every other thing. People nowadays think that they need to do to the best level that they can, and forgot that sometimes pause and having good enough mental attitude is able to make them anchor for a while. Otherwise, this mind will keep on thinking about it. Yeah. A lot of people say that 7 days is not enough in a week. 24 hours is not enough in a day. Especially asked by Charlie, 24 hours is not enough. He wants 28 hours or maybe 42 hours. And we want more and more, especially things that we cannot change, right? And with that comes stress. Yeah, if you cannot cope, then it comes with stress, and each day, when we add to what we want more, it just added that invisible load in our mind. Yeah, and I remember Ajahn Brown was sharing with us. He said that, every day we work, 7 days in a week. Every day we work, Monday to Friday, and Saturday and Sunday. Do you work as hard as Monday to Friday? Maybe some people do. A lot of people don't, right? Because you take a break, a pause. Sometimes you still do your work, but not as strong momentum as Monday to Friday. And that's a time where we take a step back and we are contentment is just like that. You rush through certain things, or you pump in your full effort on certain things, but at a certain point of time, you really need to take that weekend break for a while to assess your present condition and to celebrate your achievement thus far, and to know that what you have done, what you have fulfilled, and take that as a source of joy, then we continue on the journey. If without that break, you're going to break, right? So that is contentment that people misperceive will impact our progress. A lot of people thought contentment means no progression, but that is not the case. Perhaps after a break, we get more rejuvenated, we get more refreshed, and we get more space to continue what we ought to do. We all, in the mental well-being and joyful living, right, we learn about how to be joyful, and we all want peace, we all want joy. Yeah? And in this, one of the Maha Buddha Wangsa story, the Buddha also relate about how this contentment lead to attainment. Yeah? So this contentment can lead us to the unwholesome way, but with right understanding and wisdom, this contentment can make us realize about certain things, especially sense of urgency. Now, this is the story about Gopaka, Dewa Gopaka, yeah, and before he was born as Dewa Gopaka is actually the son of Saka, king of Deva. Before he was born there, he was actually a princess in Savatthi, and she has very strong faith in the Triple Gem. She practiced the 5 precepts, and she religiously following the teaching of the Buddha. But one of her strong mental intention when she was a lady is that she disliked this woman body. And in her mind, she kept thinking that I don't want this woman body. In my next life, I want to be born as a male. Yeah? And because of her strong practice, she was really being born as a male, as a deva, to the king, become the king, the son of Saka. And he actually in the heavenly realm could see three more Gandhabas. You know, Gandhabas is actually lower than being born in Tawatingsa, and he could recognize these 3 monks were actually previously bhikkhu. I was just a princess, you 3 were bhikkhu. And you have been practicing more precepts than me. You have been religiously following the Buddha as a disciple of the Buddha. But how come you are now born lower rank than me? That is something that he cannot rationalize, right? And then, out of these 3 bhikkhus, 2 bhikkhus heard this comment and become very discontented with their practice. And, after heard this, the wisdom arise, and they spend day and night to practice. So it cannot be, I have been doing so much of work, now I have not really achieved the desired goal. They really heard and practiced, and ultimately, these 2 attain the Arya Magga. Yeah. So that is one of the examples that this contentment, if come with wisdom, come with the right attitude, it will lead us to progress, not digress. Yeah? And contentment does not mean, being contented does not mean that it hinders us from progress. So that is a quite interesting part for us to learn as well. And King Saka, when met the Buddha, once asked, Devas, Nagas, Gandhabas, and all beings, including Asuras, when they live, they like to have this joyful living. And he asked whether the Buddha agreed, they like to live joyfully without enmity, without punishment, without jealousy to each other. The Buddha said, yes, correct. Every being, not only human being, want to have a joyful living. But even though they wish so, they will not get it. Wow. Then King Saka asked, why? Because, the Buddha said, they have this jealousy and avarice. Avarice means very strongly wanting of other people's thing, based on the greed. And King Saka asked, so what is the cause? What leads to all this? The Buddha said, it's because of love and hatred. Again, is passion that we said we learned from the Dhammapada just now, and hatred, that aversion that make people have this jealousy, and also make people have this avarice, the greed. Why jealousy comes from hatred? It's because we're not contented with what we want. We hate, we don't like our current condition, and we greed of other people's condition. Yeah, and we hope to get that. And then King Saka further asked, why would people have this hatred and love? The Buddha explained, it's because of their attachment to sensual pleasure. We keep wanting to enjoy, we keep wanting to be more pleasurable. Yeah? We want more and more pleasurable. When we don't have the wisdom to control, then we behave in such a way. And then the King Saka again asked, why would people have a lot of sensual pleasure and cannot control themselves? Then the Buddha explained, it's because of perception. How? They see that by having a lot of pleasurable experience, that is happiness. They perceive that is happiness. And what makes them keep on wanting the sensual pleasure? The reason is because of thoughts. They think about it. They enjoy the sensual thoughts. Meaning to say, they imagine that by having this sensual desire fulfilled, they will be very happy. Imagine in a hot day, okay? We are working under the sun, very hot, maybe in Wisdom Park. We think about Xanders. we think about cold drinks. We think about something that can relieve us, right? And without us doing anything, we keep thinking and thinking, that urge will come out, right? Do you experience that? Yeah. Sometimes you go to shopping, for example, you see one thing already. It's like, actually you don't need one. But when you see, you say, wow, this is so lovable, this is so cute, you know. Then you say, never mind lah. First time, never mind lah. No, I don't need it. I don't need it, so I don't buy. Then go back home. Then when maybe next you meet someone, they talk about this, hey, did you see, there's a new product come out, it's so cute, this cushion is so cute, so nice, so beautiful. They say, yeah. Then the mind start to think about it already. Then next time you want to go to the same place, you say, hey, that day, we thought I saw this, don't know still got stock or not, Then my friend also say, yes, it is nice. And then I say, value for money also. Today I get my salary, So all this will come in, and then it urges us to do the action. Then we'll go and buy, right? Then we enjoy. Yeah. So it's always these thoughts that without really controlling, then it leads us to fulfill our sensual desire. So the key here is controlling our thoughts. Yeah, cut the thoughts, and with mindfulness, with the sword edge of mindfulness and wisdom, then we can reduce and we can be contented. Another way to be helpful is having this right understanding about things, all good things, even though it's a noble things. Same like meditation, for example, or doing dana, practicing sila, would eventually come to the end. So if we have this right understanding, then when things change, we can still feel contented. I think very easy to relate is our human body. Yeah, we have this body, and as time change, as we age, how do we still be contented with this body, be grateful to this body, and make good use of this body? Yeah. We learn about how we age, right? And how acceptance to the age, to the aging process, will help us to remain insane and acceptable and still happy and grow old gracefully, right? Next we'll go to family well-being and domestic bliss. Yeah. I think over here we can discuss about the having contentment with the relationship of the spouse that we have. Yeah. So a lot of time, you know, especially in this modern society, there are cases of adultery, you know, that happen. Why? Because some people say that, yeah, I'm just lonely, I'm just bored, but that is not the practice of contentment that we practice in the keeping the third precept. Yeah, having that contentment of the spouse that you have, the partner that you have, and do not focus on that sensual desire. So, in the modern society, we could see there is a lot of divorce, especially lately. You know, MCO. There is also a lot of divorce case, a lot of disharmony in the family because of not contented with each and another. After some time, you get married, you know, all the habits come out, you know, and after living together during the MCO period, it start to become intolerable to other people, to the partner, and thus they commit the third precept. They break the third precept, and from there are more and more family problems. So, in the many circumstances where the Buddha also advised, you know, while you have a partner, choose a wise partner. Choose a wise partner. There's one story about this. This happened in China. Yeah, a couple was actually urgently needing of money to cure their son's sickness. So every day they work very hard, but they still couldn't save enough. They asked for donation, also they couldn't get enough. And one day, you know, this man was very disappointed and keep asking the wife, you know, how can we do our best, or how can we raise the fund? And this wife was not really paying attention to the emotion of the husband, and just simply replied, you know, you can go and rob the bank. You know, and this husband, in the state of desperate, you know, thought that, wow, that is my wife's advice, and really go and did that. And of course, you know, eventually they get caught, and it was a capital punishment in China. So that also reminds us about in the family, you know, when challenges happen, and if we cannot be able to sustain the life, and we do not have good advice from the people around, and we cannot maintain that sanctity of the mind, then there will tend to be a lot of unwholesome deeds that one could potentially commit. Yeah. So strong craving without any wise intervention will lead to all this unwholesome work. Yeah. And recently we also saw this incident. You know, while we take care of child, right, there is always many ways where both sides will feel discontented. You know, sometimes the kids, they want to grow up fast, right? There was this incident when it was a birthday. So the boy, there are two boys. So the elder boy's birthday, and he gets a cake of 6-year-old, number 6, right? And this second boy is 5-year-old. And because the parents know that sense of jealousy is very strong in him, so even though it's elder brother's birthday, he also bought him another gift, which is a balloon of number 5. And then when he saw that, he's not grumpy about the cake and the balloon, but he was grumpy about, I don't want 5, I want 6. I want to be 6-year-old. I don't want to be 5-year-old. You see, a boy of 5-year-old also can have that strong discontentment about the life, about the age. You know, what more compared to other kind of materials. So you can see that inherent discontentment is very strong. So that's why we have to learn slowly how to imbue that sense of contentment in us. Yeah. For parents also the same. Sometimes the parents are very not contented with the children. When they are 2, we expect them to be 4. When they don't know how to take their own bath, we expect them to take their own bath. Then whenever they are small, we expect them to be bigger. When they become bigger and they don't follow us anywhere already, then we want them to be young back. Some of my friends have this emptiness sickness. They want their children to grow up very fast so that they can send them off out of the house. And then once they are out, then they feel lonely. Yeah, I said, then when are you going to be happy? If every time you are discontented with your children, then when are you going to be happy? Right? So that is something worth for us to think about, that human evolution, yeah, follow the natural path. Right? We learn about the evolution of human, of the aging, right? They have their development path, and we just follow the natural law. Follow that different ages, different development path, and make the best use of our lives with our kinsmen, especially our children, our parents, for example. In dealing with the sick ones or elder parents, there is always a very easy way to see our discontentment. Because why? Last time our parents can do that, now already cannot do. Then we are not happy with it. Right? Or last time, when we give them certain things, they are very happy. Nowadays, because of different needs, they are older already, they may not be happy already. So they may not need those things. And then we may not feel that sense of contentment in the relationship that we build. So it's something that we need to keep mindfully adjust and keep awareness about how to sustain the relationship. The next one, we talk about economic well-being. I think this one we have a lot to see, yeah, which in the current society, there are so many incidences that we can see because of greed. Then people suffer. These days in US and in China, a lot of youngsters were actually declared bankrupt. Do you know? Yeah, because they couldn't contain their discontentment, and they keep on wanting. They keep on wanting to enjoy. They see what their friends have. They see from the internet, what are the new things, and they want to try. So it's very easy to buy things nowadays, right? Via online purchase, within 1 minute, you can buy things from everywhere in the world. And in US and China, it's very easy to get Chinese credit card or Taobao or whatever, right? So you just charge the card, and eventually, because they couldn't afford to pay, or their parents don't pay on their behalf, then they were declared bankrupt, even before they come out and work. That's very dangerous, and that is how discontentment lead to the social problems. And some youth, because they couldn't get or earn enough money because they were still young, right? First few years coming out to work in experience, they can't earn a lot, so they couldn't earn enough to sustain their desire. So what they do, there are all sorts of things. They will do many works that eventually make us feel fatigue, depression and burnout and all those things. But those are still considered good problem. The worst one will be those who perhaps the girls may sell their own body, the guys may trade drugs and all those things. So these are actually really causing the social problem because of wanting to be having economic well-being, but without the right control of the sense of contentment. then it causes more social problem. So in the sutta, I think the Buddha has talked about many ways that we should control ourselves. We can how we manage our resources so that we will not bring harm or bring more suffering to ourselves because of us wanting to pursue the worldly desire. Yeah, and one of the story we heard from Myanmar is also about this company. You heard about Chunda, right? Chunda, the butcher that killed and eventually died and in agony, just like the moment when the pig was killed. And there was this guy in the village who owns a pig farm. So that was before he learned the Dhamma. After he learned the Dhamma, he knew that this is a wrong livelihood, and he decided to stop. That was really a good thing. Everybody was rejoiced in the temple. But after he left the business, he worked in other place. He couldn't earn as much as he was doing the butchery business. And eventually, because he wants more money, he came back to do that business. And whatever that he has practiced could not help him, to stop the karma effect of killing. At the point of death, he really suffered, just like the story of Chunda. And that happened to the villagers, and that really scared off the villagers themselves, because they really see that. So really, we should see the wholesomeness to overtake the economic well-being, especially based on the non-unwholesome ways to lead our life. The next part is about interpersonal well-being and social harmony. Share with you this one story on Hansa Jataka. I'm not sure whether you have heard about it. About the Bodhisattva was born, as a human being, and had a family with 2 daughters. After he passed away, he was being born as a Hansa bird, a type of bird where it has a very beautiful feathers, and it could fly. So when this Bodhisattva passed away, he was born as a bird, and he remembered his family members. And because of this strong attachment, he always flew back to the house and stayed there for a while, and then left a golden feather, because the family was poor. So with that golden feather, the family took it and go and sell it. Then they earn some money. So every few months, he will go back, left a feather, so good, right? If one day in your courtyard you see gold feather or gold stone or whatever, maybe that comes from the past relatives of yours. And after some time, this couple that lived there have found out that, actually every time when we have the feather, we can sell and make us earn some money, then our life can go better. So he said, why not next time, when the bird flew over, we catch the bird. We catch the bird, and then we slowly pluck the feather. So every week we pluck one, we go and sell one. We don't have to wait for a few months, to be rich. Every week we sell, then we can be rich quicker. And this husband was very wise. My husband said, no, we cannot do that, But wife insisted, catch, put in the cave, and then pluck the feather and sell. Eventually, of course, this golden Hansa flew away. Managed to flew away and never returned. So from there on, this greedy lady couldn't get anything at all. And because of this plucking of the feather, it's very painful. It's like plucking your your hair from the body. It's very painful. Because of that also, he suffered from illness because of this unwholesome action. And why? It's all because wanting to fulfill the desire as well. Discontented with once in a few months. Yeah. So you can see that during the Buddha's time or before the Buddha's time, people suffer because of discontentment. During the Buddha's time, we can have example of King Ajatasattu. He's so rich, so powerful, yet he killed his father. Yeah, and Devadatta. Devadatta has lots of followers, yet still want the fame, want the power. And this is really bottomless desire and hurt the Buddha and eventually was born in the Avicii hell, right? So in the current modern society also, people measure everything based on consumption index. Yeah? And you know that the only country, the Buddhist country that measure happiness as a country index is the country of Bhutan. Yeah? That help to show the world that what Buddhism value, and it helps also to give a fresh perspective that, hey, the world is not operating as its nature. The nature law, if you follow the nature law, then you gain happiness. It's not through this consumerism that one gain happiness. Yeah? One of the examples you can see also from the internet is this group called Sarvodaya Shramadana movement in Sri Lanka. They are a very poor area, so and this movement actually helped the community to build back the community by building simple shelter, provide food, provide many kind of aids, and then slowly allow that livelihood project to sustain in the community. Then they can sustain their life. So with that, they can also avoid poverty and make people feel more contented about their life. Yeah? So this is something that how we can create social harmony by not focusing on consumerism. And you know the war now. Why is it war happening when we have the world sort of like have its sufficient resources, right? But it just cannot fulfill one man's greed or few men's greed that war has to happen, right? The last part is actually on the spiritual well-being and inner peace. The Buddha keep on saying that the fundamental of the problem why humans suffer is not because of technology, it's not because not enough resources in the world, it's not because of economic issue, but ultimately it boils back to human's mind. When the human's mind are not having the real understanding, then we do the wrong thing, we did not keep the precept, and we did a lot of unwholesome things, that's why we suffer. And there is also a lot of misinterpretation about contentment will lead to laziness. Yeah? Or contentment means that we don't have to do anything else. But that is not true. Contentment can be practiced for material possession or sensual pleasure, but for the spiritual development, we should not be contented with it. And this wanting to be better in our spiritual attainment or even worldly attainment is not that desire, but it's not a karma chanda desire, but it's actually a wholesome desire. We'll call it chanda. It's not karma tanha, but it's actually chanda. So we actually need to differentiate the difference between the two and focus on striving to attain the Buddhahood or the path of happiness, whether it's a worldly path or spiritual path. So for last, I think I would like to share with you this world billionaire list. You may want to ask why I share this, because being wealthy is very important. The Buddha said that, as a layman, we have to work our way, at the same time be contented. And many times people wish to be wealthy and they cannot be contented because they think they are not wealthy enough. Yeah, they think they are not wealthy enough. And the Buddha said that actually everyone can be rich. Yeah, who is the richest man on earth? 2022 is Elon Musk. Who will be the future richest man or wealthiest man? Buddha gave an answer. We think that we will never have the chance, right? We will have the chance to be on the list. Why? The Buddha said contentment is the greatest wealth. If you are the most contented person, then you can be the wealthiest person on earth. So the fourth list, we put that the Buddha's list, then we can rank ourselves, right? Because with contentment, it opens up the possibility of further practice, open out the possibility of connecting with people, connecting with our wise teachers and great friends, good friends, and with that, we open up our door to liberation, door to practice and door to liberation. So, lastly, let us practice this sense of contentment. Take it as a spiritual value to overcome or to purify ourselves, to slowly remove our greed and our hatred. Then with a simple lifestyle, we'll be like the birds. Yeah, wherever it goes, it is unburdened. The birds never bring luggages. Fly without luggages, fly without baggages. So it flies its wing as its only burden. And that wing of wisdom and compassion will bring us to the path of happiness. Thank you, brothers and sisters, for your attention. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.